While the IMF warns of too much austerity, the International Labor Organization is pointing to a jobs crisis around the world. The ILO has just sent an urgent statement to the IMF meeting in Tokyo, demanding new measures be taken immediately to create more and better paying jobs worldwide. Let's bring in the Director General of the organization, Guy Ryder. He joins me live from Geneva. Director General, it's nice to have you on the program. I want to jump right in here due to time. We have unemployment having climbed 30 million higher than before the crisis right now. We see many economies cutting interest rates, from Brazil to South Korea in the last 24 hours alone. Specifically, what else are you suggesting be done here within the G20 context of countries?
Well, what we're doing is recalling what G20 leaders themselves said in Mexico last June, which was if they saw a significant deterioration in global economic conditions, that they would then go back and look again at what measures they could take jointly to stimulate demand and hence employment prospects. Now, in the light of the downward revisions, again by the IMF, of growth projections for the future, we believe it is indeed urgent that the G20 governments go back and pick up on this commitment and put it into action. And the time is now.
In fact, Mr. Ryder, let's see if we can push the debate down the road a little bit here. I've seen some proposals being floated. One of them was at least $1 trillion spending package within the G20 economies, at least 9 of that group, on infrastructure to try to boost jobs and actually improve the infrastructure in some of these economies, especially the emerging market economies. Is this something the ILO is specifically supporting?
We're picking out 4 areas where we think that this pledge to boost demand could be implemented. One of them is indeed in the area of infrastructure. It's got 2 great benefits. One is it puts people straight back to work on infrastructure construction. And the second is it simply improves future productive potential. It's a good investment for the future. But we're picking out 3 other areas as well. One is getting credit lines to small and medium-sized enterprises moving again. The fact is that there are very many, hundreds of thousands of viable small and medium-sized enterprises, the real job creators of the global economy, which simply can't move forward because they're starved of credit. So that has to move forward as well. Then we're looking at major international action to tackle the global youth unemployment crisis. We know that youth are affected between 2 and 3 times more heavily by unemployment than other sectors of the working population. And lastly, we believe that it's time to invest in social protection on a much wider scale. Social protection which has that dual effect of protecting people from the worst effects of the crisis, and at the same time putting some automatic stabilizers into the economy to help us rebound and get things moving again. All of these 4 components, we believe, needs to be packaged into the type of stimulus package we're talking about.
Yeah, one final question here, though the G20 seems to be at odds within itself in some of the policies pushing forward. We saw the Los Cabos statement about trying to create jobs. At the same time, they had to meet the requirements of the Basel III banking requirements and raise the capital requirements of banks in their home markets. And this is why lending's not taking place. So either you change the policies to get the banks to loosen up some of the money, or you're still going to have the same problem and the same debate this time next year, it seems.
Well, I think the danger of having the same debate in worse circumstances 1 year on is really with us. Perhaps I could say that the latest downward revisions by the IMF of growth, in our estimations, translates into 3 million more jobs lost worldwide, starting from a basis of already 200 million lost. You're absolutely right. It is essential to get the financial economy working for the real economy. And where there are contradictions, or where those contradictions lead to the types of blockages that stop the financial system from doing what it really should be doing, which is to lubricate the real economy and get production back into place, then that certainly needs urgent attention. And whatever contradictions there may be in the G20, they have to be ironed out pretty quickly.
Okay, so we appreciate your candor. Thanks for joining us from Geneva this evening. Guy Ryder is the Director General of the International Labor Organization. We're going to take a short break here on the Global Exchange. We'll be right back with the headlines and more right after this.